You know that person who never posts anything? Maybe they're your close friend, a colleague, or a mysterious relative who exists in your contact list but never in your feed. While everyone else is feverishly documenting their holiday, adjusting the saturation on a sunset, or drafting the perfect witty caption for a latte, they are just sitting there, enjoying the moment. While you might think they're missing out on the digital conversation, there's a high probability they've figured out something the rest of us are still struggling to grasp: the less you need to prove your life online, the more real it actually feels. This isn't just a lifestyle choice, it's a psychological fortress. When we look at the gap between the moment we experience something and the moment we decide to share it, we find a profound hesitation. That hesitation tells you everything you need to know about the modern human condition. Somewhere between opening the camera app and hitting the share button, a complex neurological calculation occurs. Your brain, wired for tribal survival, asks, will people like this? Does this make me look successful enough? Is my life interesting enough to earn validation from 247 followers I haven't spoken to in nearly a decade? This performance isn't new, but the stage is. The sociologist Irving Goffman once explained that we all wear different masks to control how others perceive us, a concept known as impression management. However, social media didn't just invent these masks, it pinned them to a global stage with a billion-person audience that never sleeps. In the physical world, a social blunder is forgotten by the next morning. In the digital world, one bad caption or an uncool photo is permanent. It's a digital footprint that anyone can judge at any time. Consequently, people who choose not to post are essentially skipping the performance entirely. They are reclaiming the backstage of their lives, the private space where they can be messy, unpolished, and authentic without the fear of a permanent record. Research shows that about 30 to 40% of social media users are what psychologists call lurkers. While the term sounds predatory, it actually describes a protective mechanism. A study in Frontiers in Psychology found that when you combine the pressure to post with the fear of negative evaluation, something in the human psyche breaks. The constant upward social comparison and the anxiety over privacy create a state of social media exhaustion. Your brain, in its infinite wisdom, tries to protect you by making you a spectator rather than a participant. The poison of comparison is perhaps the most devastating byproduct of the digital age. Even when we logically know that social media is a curated highlight reel, our subconscious, the part of the brain that evolved long before filters existed, doesn't care. It sees someone's promotion, their engagement ring, or their pristine living room, and it immediately registers a loss in social status. This is the rigged game of the attention economy. Why would you voluntarily join a competition where everyone else controls the camera angles, the lighting, and the narrative? People who avoid posting are protecting their sense of control. According to self-determination theory, humans thrive when they feel autonomy over their choices. Social media is the antithesis of this. It is a validation machine where your self-worth is outsourced to strangers. Those who stay quiet aren't necessarily antisocial, they are often the most secure. Their self-esteem isn't tied to a metric of likes or comments because their validation comes from internal rather than external sources. They understand that their confidence doesn't need to be verified by the internet to be valid. There is also a fascinating distinction in how we use different platforms. Many people who avoid Instagram or TikTok like the plague will spend hours on YouTube. This is because YouTube often functions as a consumption-based platform without the inherent demand for performance. You can watch a 3-hour deep dive into quantum physics or a documentary on ancient civilizations without the pressure of socializing. No one is tracking whether you liked the video or wondering why you haven't contributed to the story in months. It's a passive relationship with content that allows for learning and laughter without the accompanying anxiety of being perceived. It's a loophole in the system: all the entertainment and information of the internet, but none of the performance art. This shift toward quiet consumption suggests a growing desire for depth over noise. In a world of 15-second clips, the choice to engage with long-form content is a sign of a brain seeking actual substance rather than a quick dopamine hit. Furthermore, the quiet ones tend to cultivate a different kind of social circle. Research consistently shows that quality friendships are a much stronger predictor of happiness than quantity. While social media encourages us to accumulate thousands of weak ties, the people who don't post usually focus on a few strong ties. They would rather have 5 friends who actually know the intimate details of their lives than 1,000 followers who only know their filtered aesthetic. There is a profound power in being an observer. These individuals are often incredibly attuned to the nuances of human behavior. Because they aren't busy framing their own lives for an audience, they notice the subtle changes in others. They see the performative tone in a friend's caption or the forced smile in a happy couple's photo. They prefer understanding to broadcasting. This is a manifestation of high emotional intelligence. By not managing a public image, they free up immense mental bandwidth for actual self-reflection and deep thinking. We must also consider the psychological concept of the spotlight effect, our tendency to overestimate how much others notice our appearance or behavior. Social media amplifies this effect to a pathological degree, making us feel like we are constantly being watched. Choosing not to post is the ultimate antidote to the spotlight effect. It is a realization that, in reality, most people are too busy worrying about their own masks to care about yours. This realization is incredibly liberating. It allows for a shift from public self-consciousness, worrying about how the world sees you, to private self-consciousness, thinking about your own values and feelings. When you ask, "How does this feel?" instead of "How will this look?" you are reclaiming your identity. You are building a sense of self that exists independently of an audience. Some experiences are inherently diminished when they are performed. A sunset is objectively more beautiful when you aren't trying to capture it on a lens that can't possibly replicate the human eye's dynamic range. A conversation is more meaningful when you aren't mentally drafting a witty tweet about it. An achievement is more satisfying when the pride is yours alone, rather than being diluted by the opinions of others. People who rarely post show higher levels of reflection because they allow their experiences to sit with them, to be processed and integrated into their identity, rather than being immediately exported for public consumption. They are playing a longer, more sustainable game of mental health. They are avoiding the emotional volatility that comes with tying your mood to a notification bell. The paradox of our time is that social media promised us connection and community, yet it often leaves us feeling more isolated than ever. It created an economy where being real is a marketing tactic rather than a state of being. Silence has become weird, and privacy has become a luxury. But the people who opt out aren't rejecting connection, they are rejecting the transactional terms of digital connection. They want the real thing unfiltered, unrecorded, and in real time. They are saying that their private life is so valuable that it doesn't need to be shared to be real. It is the ultimate form of self-respect to believe that your life has worth even if no one is watching. As we look toward the future, the value of the analog self will only increase. In a world saturated with AI-generated content and hyper-performative influencers, the person who stays quiet is the one who remains authentic. They are the ones living in the light where the cameras can't reach. They haven't been left behind by technology, they have simply chosen not to be consumed by it. They understand that at the end of a life, the memories that matter won't be the ones that got the most likes. They will be the quiet moments, the private jokes, and the experiences that were too good to be ruined by a camera. The quiet ones aren't hiding in the shadows. They are simply living in a reality that doesn't require a Wi-Fi connection to exist. Choosing privacy over posts, depth over followers, and presence over performance isn't antisocial, it's the highest form of sanity in an increasingly loud world. If you find yourself hesitating before your next post, perhaps listen to that feeling. It might be your brain telling you that some things are better left unshared, and that the best version of your life is the one that only you and the people truly present get to see.